What's a mispronunciation that sends you into fits of rage? Someone saying Pacific instead of specific. My wife says mannerism like aneurysm, and I think she's going to cause me to have one. Going to try that on my wife, hope to report back. Well, it's been 9 minutes, I think he's dead. 13 meters, still no signs of life. I want to thank you all for gathering today in honor of Muchmore A. Munchtime. I know it would have meant the world to him. Let's honor his memory by continuing to spread love in this world and to try our best each and every day. Losing Muchmore A. Munchtime is akin to losing a family member. He is irreplaceable and their loss is felt deeply, more than words can ever describe. At the same time, I know Muchmore A. Munchtime would hate it if they saw us crying, talking only about their loss and ignoring all the wonderful things Muchmore A. Munchtime did with their precious time here on Earth. Thank you for everything. Wherever you are, buddy, we are thinking of you. I heard he died of an aneurysm. Take it for granted. For all intensive purposes. Nip it in the butt. I used to say dip it in the booty. Think accompanied visualization is much more astute. Suddenly my username is relevant. Your face is as red as a strawberry. It always makes me happy to see a Scrubs reference. They're getting fewer and farther between as time goes by. I was in a chocolate shop once and a family was in there. The father goes, "Wow. Look at this. Chocolate-covered jalapenos." He pronounced it completely correctly. His family burst out laughing and mocked him for his pronunciation. He asked what was going on and the daughter says, "You say it so weird, it's jalapeno." The whole family agrees with her and he's like, "Are you sure?" They're mocking this man and he's correct. But then he just has to agree because they're relentless. I lost my mind that day. Why didn't you take his side? You just left him to die there. As a Spanish speaker, I would absolutely be intervening there just to prove their father right. When people say weary instead of wary, I'm generally weary of strangers. Bitch, I'm growing mighty weary of you. It's wreak havoc, not wreck. My ex would say generally in place of genuinely and did not understand why it was wrong. Edit, to the folks saying that's why she's your ex, nah, it's not. This was a pet peeve for sure, but it didn't have any impact on the relationship. She was a perfectly fine person, things just didn't work out and I called it. I think my old roommate thought comparable meant reasonable. Oh, have you tried that new restaurant down the street? No, is it good? Yeah, pretty good. And the prices are comparable. To what? Exactly. Exactly. Mute for moot. It's like a cow's opinion. No one cares. It's mute. It's a moo point. He thought of that same line when I read it. My one boss will type in other words in emails. My mom cannot pronounce Chipotle. She says Chipotle. When the town I grew up in finally got a Chipotle, nearly everyone pronounced it Chipotle and it made me stabby. Chipoodle, remember the old Jack in the Box commercial where he couldn't say it? Nuclear instead of nuclear. I was looking for this. My 7th grade science teacher always pronounced nucleus as nucleus and it drove me crazy. Eventually I couldn't take it anymore and raised my hand to correct him. He told me this is why I don't have friends. Fair enough, lol. Library instead of library. Your face is red like a strawberry. I try not to get worked up about mispronunciations, but I had a manager who said perbachim instead of verbatim, and I winced every time she said it. Yikes. This unlocked a memory. My middle school health teacher said puberty instead of puberty and it enraged me when I was 11. I had a boss once who would always call it a physical year. It took me longer than I care to admit to realize that she actually meant fiscal year. It's amazing how much more sense my job made after that, lol. I went on one date with a fellow who said the 16th chapel. He took me to a Thai restaurant. Was it Titanic? Italian edit, thanks for the awards. Iran and Iraq, 2 countries in the Middle East. And Iran so far away. My boyfriend doesn't pronounce the first R and frustrated. He sounds like a child and it's, well, frustrating. My husband, and his family, does this. Makes me insane. Supposedly. It's supposedly. Frustrated makes me frustrated. As does flustrated, the combining of being frustrated and being flustered. Marine Corps pronounced as corpse. Used to work in a place that dealt with a lot of veterans, and I had a coworker that could not say the word correctly, drove me batty. She also pronounced the S in Illinois. As a non-native speaker, it's pronounced Marine Corps, right? Unless they're dead. In that case, it is in fact a Marine corpse. Marines die, that's what we do. But the Corps lives forever. But you are not allowed to die without permission. Height is height. Makes me irrationally angry and I can't explain why. Edit, missing a word. When people say especially instead of especially. Especially if they order espresso at the coffee shop. My dad says espresso. Very smart, very educated, very good grammar, loves coffee. Still says espresso. Across. I worked with someone who said this. She also pronounced buttons as buntons. I fought the urge to correct her every time. Espresso versus espresso, GIF versus GIF. It's pronounced GIF, not GIF. No, it's Nikolai. Maybe doesn't totally count since it's more grammatical perhaps than pronunciation, but it's would've, should've, could have. Not would've. Also, I could care less. I could care less is something that is commonly said on television by actors and actresses, and every time I hear it I am just in disbelief that the producers let that slide. Like, stop perpetuating it. So much gets through on television. I die whenever actors mix up singular and plural, millennium, millennia, and phenomena. Typically while playing experts in history or the paranormal. You live through the turn of the millennium, we all learned this. Acid reflux. The reflux is a lonely child, he's waiting by the park. Reflux is in charge of finding treasure in the dark. I can't pronounce quarter. I am stupid. Can you say quarter? Especially. Espresso. Etc. Asterisk instead of asterisk. My coworker keeps saying asterisk instead of asterisk. It drives me insane. Asterisk. Etc. when 95% of all English-speaking people say etc. when it should be etc. Those are the same people who abbreviate it as ect. Etc. People saying for all intensive purposes instead of for all intents and purposes. It's a dog-eat-dog world. I kinda love this one because it changes the meaning so much. Dog-eat-dog, violent imagery, horrifying. Dog-eat-dog, aw, so cute. Just the doggiest of dogs. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. I work in a hotel. The number of people that refer to adjoining rooms, meaning to have the connecting door between them, as CA joined, not conjoined, which is still wrong but still less wrong, makes me want to rage punch them. Call them adjoining. Call them connecting. Call them adjacent even. But CA joined is not a goddamn word. I'm learning new things to hate in this thread. I could care less, not really a mispronunciation but still annoys me. Ducking Reese's Pieces. Oh, you don't like Reese's Pieces? As a kid I called them Reese's Penis. I thought it was the absolute height of comedy. As a freshman in high school my chemistry teacher dropped a Reese's Penises on us while explaining an ice cream making competition. I always thought after 25 years I would no longer find it funny, but it still kills me. Irregardless of where you're from, if you ask me specifically, it's GIF. Now you'll probably argue about what the creator said versus every other English word starting with G consonant, but for all intensive purposes, it should be GIF. I could care less what your reasoning is otherwise. It's pretty elementary.